Okay, we're going to get started here momentarily. As soon as my tablet tells me that it is 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here in Las Vegas, Nevada. My nose is itching. Allergy season. Just use some allergy spray. Okay, it is 5:30. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, and I am here today to teach you how to use your amazing brain and also to teach you how to hold yourself personally accountable so that you can become your best day in and day out. Couple of little housekeeping things. This is a lecture or online lecture, so go ahead and get you some note-taking materials. Additionally, you will need a second device because we will be going on my website as well as to my poetry that we will use as our learning for today, our cognitive activity for today. Without further ado, go ahead and on your own, inhale and exhale 3 times just to clear the mind, let the brain know we're getting ready to use it. All right, so in order to have neuropability, which I developed, I need to explain how it was created. So the first thing we're going to talk about very briefly is neurogenesis. And what neurogenesis is it is the creation of new neurons. And there are many ways that you can do it. Over here for neuropability, here's how we use it: to challenge yourself and to learn new skills. And in order for those new neurons to actually survive and thrive, you need to be in an environment that is enriched. Now, this neurogenesis for neuropability cannot happen if you are in a toxic, stressful, fearful environment, and that environment is located where the unaccountables reside, which is in Loserville. Neurogenesis works over here. It does not work over there. Next, you need neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to wire itself to create new neural pathways. You take those and you add them with personal accountability and you get neuropability, which is the brain's ability to wire itself to the 74 principles of real leadership, creating unlimited neural pathways, allowing you to become your best. Now, all of this happens in the forebrain and the frontal lobe and in the executive function of your brain, which is the CEO of your brain. So if you are in the limbic system and you are in your amygdala, this is not going to work, okay? You need to be up and through here in the frontal lobe where all of your cognition and learning and problem solving and task mastering and all of that happens up there in the frontal lobe. Okay, now that that's out of the way, you understand neuropability. Today we are going to be discussing, good morning, we are going to be discussing set and maintain high standards. We are now in the effective portion of the principles of real leadership. So I'm just going to read the beginning of that. If you are new to this channel, you can go to the turnarounddoctor.com and go to the 74 principles of real leadership, scroll down, and currently we are in the effective section. So the goal in effective leadership is to become well equipped so that you can minimize or eliminate your ineffective moments. Good morning, Lorenzo. Give me 1 second. All right. So you can minimize or eliminate your ineffective moments. We are talking about setting and maintaining high standards. And so before we get into that, let's just be honest. Do you have high standards for yourself? Do you set and maintain high standards for yourself? Go ahead and be honest. You could do a thumbs up. You could do an emoji. You could do yes. You could do no. Just answer the question honestly. Do you set and maintain high standards for yourself? Is that one of your realities? And so this is a closed-ended question. It's either yes or no. Good morning, Regina. It's not, sometimes I do, well, you talking about dating or you talking about my career? You talking about my family or you talking about my friends? No, I'm saying in general, overall, do you set and maintain high standards? And this morning, while I was looking it up, as we know, I've been defining every word of the principles of real leadership. What I found interesting is that I have never, ever looked up set and maintain high standards, individual words. And then I looked it up as a phrase, and man, things popped up. It was all about relationships and high expectations and everything else. So I was like, okay, let me just look up every individual word, because I thought that that was going to deliver one defining thing, definition, and that didn't happen. So I had to go by each individual word. So we're going to start with set. Definition of set is the act of putting something in position. The act of putting something in position. We are in America, Christy Thompson. And so if you have any other questions, did you join in the morning? Because right now this is an online lecture. So you can, if you decide to stay, you go ahead and get you some note-taking materials. I teach Neuropability. That's teaching adults how to hold themselves personally accountable. Most of us are located in the U.S. So if you'd like to stay, go ahead and gather some note-taking materials in a second device so you can follow along on the website. And if this is not something that you were aspiring to have during your time of the day, it's okay. You can actually go somewhere else. It's okay. But I'm in the middle. I actually have notes and everything. So your questions are disruptive at this point. So if you do have additional questions, go ahead and put a question mark first. I can acknowledge that as I am going through. So right now you're disrupting the learning process. Okay, so I will review again. The definition of set is the act of putting something in position. The act of putting something in position. The definition of and indicates a connection of two things. Indicates a connection of two things. Maintain is to preserve from failure or decline. And I like that definition so much so that I made it the PA and the Real Leader Brain for today. So maintain is to preserve from failure or decline. The next is high, and the definition of high is advanced in complexity or development. Advanced in complexity or development. And the last one is standards, a level of quality or attainment. A level of quality or attainment. And when you put that together, you are putting something in place that you don't want to fail or decline at a high level of complexity or attainment. That's what you're doing. You're putting it together. You want it to stay that way. You don't want it to be failing or declining at a high level of quality or attainment and complexity. That's setting and maintaining. That's setting and maintaining high standards. That's the definition of setting and maintaining high standards. And so what I will say, okay, cool, we're back down to our 5 people, because what I was going to let the unaccountable know that you're looking for a dopamine boost, and I'm not your pusher man at all. This is not the channel for you, and nor will you come along with your unaccountable antics and disrupt anything that's taking place. You will be deleted and potentially reported as well. So continue on, scroll through, because I am not the one to be played with ever in your life. So scroll along, move along. Got it? So what questions do you have about the definition of set and maintain high standards? Set and maintain high standards. And Lorenzo, you're probably on spring break. Set and maintain high standards definition. Do you have any, what questions do you have on that before we go forward? And I'm going to go ahead and make that a highlight. Don't have a problem doing that. Regina has a question. Kevin has none. And Kevin, did you see I said send me the link when you make that video? Good morning, Lola. Okay. It was no rush. I just wanted to make sure you saw it. The question I have is, what questions do you have about me defining, set, and maintain high standards? The definitions that I used for set and maintain high standards. Regina, maintain didn't know it meant to preserve from failure or decline. So you must continue and maintain in order to. Yes, I was shocked, and that was the first definition of it too. So this morning I was like, wow, I got to use that. I had no idea. Have never looked up the word maintain in my entire life. And today that was the meaning of it. I think that I got it from the full meaning, because sometimes I'll use the definition and then I have an option that says, do you want the full meaning of it? And I believe that's the one that I did. But yes, so preserve from failure or decline. That's like, mind blowing. All right. So now, why don't people set and maintain high standards? I'm going to ask you all that question first before I reveal the answer. So why do you believe that potentially you and others don't set and maintain high standards? Just go ahead. There isn't a like, oh no, that's wrong. This is just your perspective of why it doesn't happen as often as it needs to. We got a lot going on. We got people doing stuff at the golf course. Some dogs are barking. The trash may come early today, so you all may hear a lot. I feel like the hole by our house is the only one that they do work on. I swear, I'm like, there's always, we come out the gate, it's people practicing, coaching. It's very active. And the lake is there, so the geese come flying. For it to be a quiet corner, it's quite busy over there. Kevin said lazy and don't want to put in the work. Lorenzo said easy because people get off being personally unaccountable. Yes. Yes. So I do have one of those answers as one of my answers. And it could be. There are people who actually live on the course, and they probably have. We don't get any golf balls over here, so because they're going in the other direction, which is great. All right, anyone else? Regina, have to be committed, takes time, need to be self-motivated, and if you don't have the desire, it won't happen, and not self-disciplined. Okay, cool. Okay, so here's what I have. And if you have an answer, you can continue to type. It's difficult to start and maintain. It's difficult to start because what is a high standard? How do you know if it's high enough? So what are you using as a measurement first? So what is the average? And what I've done, I don't have to do it anymore because nobody's doing what I'm doing. But when I was in ROTC, JROTC, ROTC, had jobs and everything else, I wanted to know who was the top performer from the giddy up, who's the employee of the year, the month, whatever, because that's the standard by which everybody is measuring excellence. So I just needed to know who I was taking down. You the baddest mofo in the room, Roger that. Okay, I'm coming for you, so get ready to move out my way because I'm taking your spot. So it's difficult when you don't have a starting point, where you don't know what the current standard is. And so for me now, I don't have the ability to set and maintain high standards for neuropability because I developed it. However, I do know that you need to do it. So there are two options. Either you're personally accountable, that's the standard, or you're unaccountable. That's it. So my standard is, are you following the 74 principles of real leadership? So currently, if I didn't teach you the 74 principles of real leadership, that means that you're not personally accountable. I'm done. So I don't really care how much money you have, your position, your power, your title, none of that. If I didn't teach you how to be personally accountable, a straight gangster. I didn't teach you how to do it. You don't know how to do it. So that is the maintaining of the high standards. So Noah says, I am learning to have continuous growth because before I was working on consistency and then best. And now I am learning what it takes to be bester. Yes. So you don't know what the standard is. So if you don't have the actual measurement, how can you set and maintain a high standard? So it's difficult to start and maintain it. But if it's already there, now you just go above and beyond. As I mentioned in my book, I talk about the extended scale for the PT test. It used to be 300, then they moved it to 400, and the people at the bottom actually raised up higher than the people who were at the top. but it's difficult to do. So how do you set and maintain high standards? People say it's difficult, and so they can't start it. So how can you maintain something that's never been started? A lack of mental strength. If you do not have neurogenesis, neuroplasticity, and neuropability, you are not going to be able to set and maintain, because as Regina indicated, you have to preserve it from failure or decline. That means that you got to keep paying attention to it. You got to be on it. So just like with a car, you got to get the tires rotated. You got to get new tires, oil change, air filters, all of those things. Make sure you're getting all of the maintenance checks done so the dang on car doesn't fall apart. You have to maintain your brain. So if you don't have the mental strength, and just like at the beginning of the live, we had those unaccountables who were coming to look for some manufactured dopamine and they weren't getting it, so you can go somewhere else. It's the mental strength to be able to stay in your frontal lobe, because it's easy to stay in the amygdala. You ain't got to do nothing. Have your hijacked amygdala, stay in the temporal lobe and the limbic system, and sit your behind in your comfort zone, and that's it. But if you want to have high standards, now you're gonna have to get some neural pathways and go ahead and wire yourself on up to this frontal lobe and take it from there. Fear, the fear of setting a high standard. The fear, and dating came up a lot when I looked at this, and people used to accuse me of being high maintenance when I was in the dating world, field, whatever. And I said, I'm not requiring you to do anything that I'm not already doing for myself. So no, I'm not going to Applebee's. I'm not. I don't like the food, and I'm not going there. I go to Ruth Chris. So if we going somewhere, here are the list of restaurants. And I've mentioned before, well, sure, we can go walk in the park, but don't think you're doing something and we out here doing Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruities at IHOP. That's not something that I'm about to do. So you have maintenance. No, I'm not. We're probably in two different dating brackets, and that's okay. Go to the other side of the bar and talk to them. That's not me. But having that high standard, fear. Oh, if I do it, then what if people reject it? So what? The standard is up here. If you want to be in my life and you want to have access to me, you need to become personally accountable. Because if you're not, I know at some point I'm going to be on the receiving end of your unaccountability, which is going to take me out of my 100% and make me either go over it or down to come pick you up from some hole that you willingly jumped in. So I'm good. You can keep that unaccountability over there. So it's the fear of isolation, of being alone, of being ridiculed, and all these other things. And I'm saying unaccountable people make it so setting and maintaining high standards is difficult. Then comfort. If you set and maintain a high standard, that means that you're going to have to ensure that something is not failing or declining, and you may have to go and maintain your brain on a day that you wanted to take a nap. You may have to learn something when you really wanted to sit at home and binge watch something. So the comfort will stop you. And then, as Kevin mentioned, lazy. Oh, I don't feel like doing that. It don't take all that. You're doing too much. You're doing too much. No, you're not doing enough. In fact, you're doing nothing because you're sitting in your comfort zone doing absolutely nothing. Some people think setting and maintaining high standards is boring because you can't get that instant manufactured dopamine from it. Setting and maintaining high standards means, first of all, you got to do some analysis. You're going to have to gather some facts, be strategic, set the standard, and put it in place. You might have to explain it to some other people, and then you're going to have to inspect it. And who wants to do that? All that sounds like it's not sexy, it's not fun, and ooh, that's boring. So why would I do that? I don't want to do that at all. And then the ridicule. I have been accused of being a perfectionist. I'm doing too much. It don't take all of that. Why you always doing something? Here you go again. You ain't learned enough yet. You reading another book. So then all of that, again, is coming from unaccountable people with no to low standards. And I have a Dr. Donna quote that says low standards is too close to no standards. And losers love to talk you down out of your standards. And then people won't like you because here you come with all your standards. When it's time to get inspections, I had AIB, Intech, food service people come in, DOT, OSHA, because of the positions that I had at Frito-Lay, and they were coming in and inspecting. And people don't like the inspector. People don't like the homeowners association. Now, I don't like the homeowners association because they are hypocrites. So they pick and choose what they're going to do. If you're going to follow the reg, follow the reg. If you're not, then be quiet and let it go. If you're going to maintain the whole community, then don't be picking and choosing houses. And everybody's homeowners association is different, and they do whatever they want in individual neighborhoods. Some people care about parking. Some people care about the landscaping. Some people care about the trash bins. But the whole manual says care about all of it. So I do have a problem with people picking and choosing what standards they're going to maintain. Maintain all of them. If you got high standards, then everything is creme de la creme. But people won't like you. So people don't like me because I'm waiting to get to 3,000 on Instagram to publish my block list, because you're not going to be coming into my space being unaccountable. So you will be blocked. You will not have access to me, and you don't have to like me, because Laura Bush said the 50% rule. 50% of the people are going to like you and 50% are not. And I don't really care if you like me. I'm past if you like me. And I know one of the principles of real leadership is to be likable, but that's for the 50% that is actually interacting and engaging with you. I'm not trying to convert somebody that's a hater or somebody that's like, I don't like her. Okay, cool. Then we ain't got nothing. We don't have to share the same space ever in life. I'm not about to convince you, kowtow down, acquiesce to you. You ain't personally accountable. So I don't really care. I bet if you became personally accountable, you change all of your entire perception of me, because we'd be speaking the same language. So people won't like you. So again, in summary, why don't people set and maintain high standards? It's difficult to start and maintain, a lack of the mental strength needed to maintain it and set it, fear, comfort, lazy, boring, ridicule, and people won't like you. Now let's move on to how to set and maintain high standards. And I thought about this for a very long time, and well, I won't say very long, longer than I would have liked this morning, because I was really thinking about it. Be well. I was really thinking about, are there steps to maintaining high standards, or are there just concepts of how to get it done depending on what you're doing? And so here's what I developed. So first, you have to set the standard. You have to set the standard, and you have to find out what the average is, because that's what the unaccountables are doing. So what is the standard? I'll use myself with my Jiffy account. When I started it and got into the API, and I've said this story before, so Gary Vee had like a 400 million. Barack Obama, he might have been at 700 million, and then the NFL was at like 9 billion or something like that. So those are the people I picked. Now this is 2018, so it wasn't a lot of people with individual Jiffy accounts that you could access, because they were still in the infancy stages. You could still contact the leadership and the administrators of the company directly through email, because that's how I ended up in the API. So those were my standards, and I said, okay, cool. 400 million, I can get to that. 9 billion, might not be able to get to that. And I think President Obama was at 1 billion, somewhere around there. Nola will correct me. So I was like, I believe I can pass Gary Vee, and I should be able to get to 1 billion. He might even been at more than that. So I said, cool, all right, bet. This is something to strive for. And then we put a strategy together that we hit 100 million at 7 months. Then we did the Dr. Donna math that to this day Nola doesn't understand. And we were posting 7 Jiffies, stickers and Jiffies a day. And we had 5 months left. I said, we just need to make it 10 Jiffies a day. We make it 10 Jiffies a day, and we're going to get to 1 billion in 5 months. And she was like, but it took us 7 months to get to 100 million, and that's 10x. Don't worry about that. It's going to work. And so it did. And now just recently, I think last week, that page hit 17 billion views because of having that high standard. So you look at what's happening, and then at Frito-Lay, they call it a BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal, and benchmarking. And then you just say, this is where people are. And so I started posting once a day on social media way back almost 10 years ago. And now I post 85 or more times a day across all my social media platforms, because I just increased the goal incrementally. I'm not aware of an individual person who makes their own content that posts that much every single day. If you are aware of that person, I have a peer. Let me know. Drop their name in the comments, because I'd like to see them and know that there is somebody else. Plus, hey, I could get back up to 100 if I need to. It's just not 100 anymore, because I don't have my Facebook account anymore. So you set the standard. And then you measure using SMART. And I mentioned SMART yesterday. It's also in my book as well. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. That's how you know that it's a strategic plan. Otherwise, it's a DAP, which is a dumbass plan, and it's not going to work. You're not going to have a high standard at all. Now you need to uphold it by inspecting what you expect. And that's also one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So if I had to just have my Jiffy account, threw the 1 Jiffy up, the 3, the 5, never went back, didn't know it, and then thought, well, I should be at 1 billion by now. I said in a year, and then I go back and I'm at 1 million. Well, I didn't check it. I didn't maintain it. I didn't go and see what adjustments that I need to make. And so throughout, I believe we started with 3, went to 5, went to 7, and then went to 10. to measure how we were going to get there. We also did research. We started using the days of the week, the days of the year. You know, you have National Girlfriend's Day, National Boyfriend's Day, Grandparents' Day, Cinco de Mayo. So we made stickers for all of those, used the calendar, and was very strategic in getting to that number. So we weren't just me going, and that was it. There are 4,500 Jiffies inside of that system, stickers and Jiffies as well. And then I experimented. I have tweets. I have me doing lenses, Bitmoji, all kind of things. So I was also challenging myself and taking risk as well in that process. And then you need to enforce it. You need to say, this is my standard. We had some unaccountable people on here in the beginning, a person asking a question. I told them what the operating procedures were for this live, told them what they needed, and then more people came. And the standard is, get the hell off my live. I'm blocking you. I don't care about the numbers. It's quality over here. It's not quantity. I don't want 100,000 random dopamine induced people say, hey, I love you so much. All of that when this is my online classroom. Absolutely not. Everybody has always had that one or more teachers in elementary, middle, and high school where you don't play. You walk past, hey, how you doing, Dr. Thomas-Rodgers? And you just walk past the class. You don't act a fool. You kind of stand up straight. You on time. We got Dr. Donna. I got to be on time because she don't play. You have to enforce that standard. When Nola makes a mishap with an appointment, and so here's an appointment right here with the person's information on it. So if we don't have a gate code, or I don't know how long it's going to take, or what we're putting together, if we're in an apartment and we didn't bring the wagon, then we're going to have a strong conversation, because those systems are in place on purpose to ensure that we can get in, get the work done, and get out and move on with the rest of our day. So you do need to enforce it. And you have to reprimand for noncompliance. I had the progressive discipline process when I was at Frito-Lay. In the Army, we had the chapter system. I did have to chapter soldiers out of the military for noncompliance for PT reasons. And then you reward openly for compliance. So you reprimand privately. You didn't do what you needed to do, so here you go. And you did do, so here you go. So those of you who finish 30-day challenges, you get rewarded openly. Here's your 30-day your certificate, because you met all the metrics to ensure that you are compliant with that challenge. So here is your reward or award for getting it done. And then finally, you continue to raise your standards so that you ensure there is no failure or decline. I could still be posting twice a day on social media. Nobody would come to me and say, oh, you didn't post. Most people can't make it a post a day every day for 365 days, year after year. But that is not for me. So setting and maintaining high standards means going back and reviewing those standards to ensure that they're there. And if you find that, okay, this is easy for me, well, simple for me, I can go ahead and kick it up a notch. Because challenge yourself is also one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and take risk. So while you're setting and maintaining these standards, you are keeping them raised. Kevin had the privilege of seeing one of my, and also Regina too, I think, of seeing one of my earlier lives way back in 2023 when I was figuring things out. And people were able to say and do more things because I had taken the advice of a macro influencer and was just like, oh, go live, go live, go live, go live, go live. And I didn't have any other instructions. And so I was like, okay, well, let's see how this goes. And now all of those things that took place in 2023 would never fly here today in 2025. So you have to increase everything that you're doing as well. So don't have that same standard from 1972, 1998, 2010, 2018, because if you are growing, which is grow continually is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, that standard is going to get higher and higher and higher as well. So the Ritz-Carlton calls it second mile service, and I just added to that today, and it's second mile standard. So it's that go above and beyond. That's also one of the 74 principles of real leadership as well. What questions do you have about setting and maintaining high standards, why people don't do it, and how you can do it? And if you do have a question, ... If you don't, I can move on. BHAG, BHAG. It's a big, hairy, audacious goal. So the letter B, HAG. And I learned it at Frito-Lay, but I believe that it belonged to someone else in a training that we had, because as a corporation, they used to buy training packets from other people. So you have your regular goal, and then you have your BHAG. So let's say you said, I want to lose 20 pounds, but my BHAG is 30 pounds. You could say, I want to read 25 books in a year, but my BHAG is 45 books. So it's your above and beyond goal. All right, at this time, go to the website, theturnarounddoctor.com. If you weren't already there, you want to go to the social media tab, scroll down to Letters from Louise, which is 3 from the bottom. That is my nom de plume for me writing poetry. So theturnarounddoctor.com, social media tab, scroll down to the bottom. 3rd from the bottom is Letters from Louise. And from there, when you get to Letters from Louise, you're going to be scrolling down to the poem called Loyal. You will read that. Medium says it's a 1-minute read. I believe it's less than that, but it is a 1-minute read. And then from there, you will type ... And then you will type in your response, your takeaways, whatever the first thought that came to your mind, however you process this poem. And no one said no questions, and thumbs up. And I'm having a hot flash. Hot flash. Sweating now, baby. Hot flash. The article is now right. Sums up my social circle is so small and getting smaller. Oh, sums up why my social circle is so small and getting smaller. It's a question. No, it's loyal. It's loyal. So if it was a question, remember we talked about punctuation. So then you need the question mark in order to communicate effectively. It's loyal. Regina, there are givers and there are takers. The givers are usually loyal people who often believe that they can give and give to the takers, hoping that they will respond with loyalty and appreciation. Yep. Wonder who the givers are. I wonder who the takers are. We had to put them in two categories. Yes, ma'am. I see that, Nola. So if we had to quantify the givers and the takers and put them in personally accountable and personally unaccountable, might have a theme there. Might have a theme. Kevin, this reminded me when you told us you were a flight risk, but I'm going to be loyal to you until you take flight. Got it. I'm only a flight risk for the people who are personally unaccountable. Eventually, loyal people become wiser and more selective about who they choose to give their time and energy to. Right, and that's what Lorenzo is saying, because Lorenzo is on the younger side of life. And so, yeah, you know, you're very optimistic, and not that we're jaded because we're older, but we just, sometimes wisdom takes over. So I wrote this poem, and not because of what was happening in June of 2023, because I had stopped talking to everybody by then, but feelings had come up that day. And so I just thought about everybody and summed it up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Nola said, yeah, I have now made it so I have to balance the loyalty and not me just being loyal and not receiving anything back. Accountable equals loyal. Yes. Personally accountable equals loyal. Unaccountable, yes. Very much so. So what I find is interesting now that I am a poet, a novice, a neophyte poet, is that you actually can convey a universal message. Everybody read this poem and had a different takeaway from it. But the fact that we all take away is disloyal people take and loyal people give. And you have to assess who those people are in your life. That's why I make things broad enough that you can use it, but then you have to customize it for what it is that you're understanding that's taking place in your life, because we all have unique life experiences. And so this poem was actually very freeing for me, because I am such a loyal person. I'm a Taurus. We're loyal to a fault until we're not. It's just in our nature to do that. We will just give you the shirt off our back and everything else. And now that's what that barrier is for me, or that boundary is. If you are personally unaccountable, I don't care. I don't care. If you're unwilling to participate in neuropability and create new neural pathways to get out of that unaccountable lifestyle, then you get what you deserve. That's just how that has to be in order for me to continue to do the work that I have been charged with doing at this point in my life. Okay, the next is the follow-up from yesterday. What did you do to believe in yourself yesterday? What action did you take? Stiff today. I sat down and laid down too much yesterday. And remember ... so I know that you're thinking. I ate all my almonds. I'm looking at my plate. That was just munching away over there. I don't have any almonds left. Yay! Congratulations, Regina! Woohoo! Finished that first PA challenge. Yes. That's awesome. You'd be surprised how many people don't make it through. Never would have made it. They don't. Make it to and through. And they stop anywhere from, here's what you got to do. I've had people quit on day 27 or 28. Well, I haven't had. People have quit on those days. I'm not going to take responsibility for that. So it is no small feat. So what I did yesterday was, I used to, up until yesterday, there's 3 lives on Monday, the morning one on YouTube, the 3 p.m. on TikTok, and the 4 p.m. on Instagram. And I've been doing 3 different formats and agendas. And so yesterday I said, why? And I had a conversation with myself. I checked myself. Then I had a conversation. Yes, it was. Yes, and I'm saying people have the first attempt and they don't come back to finish it, is what I'm saying. They will get to that point and just say, yeah, I'm good. I'm not going back. I believed I could sit on the passenger side and not criticize my wife's driving. I did it. Well, congratulations to you, Kevin. Congratulations, because that is difficult. What I found is that the better Nola's driving skills got, the more she decided to give the person who taught her how to drive feedback on their driving, which I found quite interesting. So kudos to you. I understand when people drive and the route they take and why they get in that lane, when you're going to change lanes. So if you did that, bravo. Okay, Nola said, I started looking more in depth in my basketball playbook, looking at the football plays with footage for the last 3 weeks. It has made me understand how the basketball plays more and than when I first picked it up. Yes, players and plays. Lorenzo, what did you do yesterday to believe in yourself? Yes, it is, Kevin. That is a big deal. That's huge. So here's the thing, and kudos to you too, Nola, as well. So I had 3 different formats for the Monday lives, and yesterday, because we were off, I took a nap and could just think. I gave myself a lot of time to just rest yesterday, and I said, why am I doing this? Why is there a different format for TikTok and Instagram? And what I realized, it was because the unaccountables trained me. And that's because, dude, I'm still teaching you. I taught you how to drive and you still need feedback. Really? We about to do this, Nola? How long did it take us to realize why you couldn't get through that first turnabout by the house? So she deleted it. Okay. I still give you feedback because I've been driving longer than you've been alive. Woo! I said that because I was old. I'm old. Anyway, I'm giving her defensive driving techniques now because she got the driving techniques now. She can come back and say, I do give her, why is your blinker still on? And part of it is ADHD. And then part of it is she's mad because so many people moved here. That is way more people on the road than it was when she first started driving. Okay, cool. Here's the thing. Yes. Here's the thing. But I do tell her when she's doing good too. We never, because of that negativity bias. It's over here. So you only been driving for 4 years. That's not a lot of time. It's not a lot of time on the road. It is not. Okay? That's a drop of water in the ocean. Yes. So, and why did you delete the message? You could have left it there. Anyway, so what happened was, is it still in there? It said held for review. Oh, somebody else's message. Okay, got it. Somebody else's message was held for review. So if somebody types something, go ahead and retype it because it was held for review. But if you type some bullshit, then don't do it again. So anyway, yesterday I made the decision. I said, why am I doing this? Why am I changing up what I'm doing on TikTok versus Instagram? And it was a lack of belief. I listened to the people who said, well, TikTok is different, Instagram is different. And I couldn't figure out why I liked YouTube better after all this time that I've been putting my content on YouTube, and why I'm like, cool, I am not going back to TikTok Live. I'm staying on YouTube. And it's because this is where the learning happens at. With all this other, I know unaccountables come, but overall it's here. It's the live stays in the live tab. I don't have to transfer anything, and it's there for people to watch on the replay if you miss it and all that. So yesterday I made the decision. It's Monday. It's Mental Monday. And whatever I talk about on Monday on YouTube, I'm talking about it on TikTok, and I'm talking about it on Instagram. And that's what I did yesterday. And what happened was, I don't even know how many people ended up on the TikTok live at one point, because I just went through what I went through, a shorter, condensed version, because I said I'm only doing 30 minutes to preserve my voice, especially since I have to go do a third live. And I did the same thing on Instagram. And on Instagram, because that's where the fakest people of all reside, besides on Facebook, is people are looking for a dopamine boost, dopamine boost. And so there were 5 times in a half an hour where I was literally talking to myself, because people came on, I was doing my mental workout, and people that wanted no parts of it. And I continued on, and it was such a freeing experience because I wasn't participating. And at the end, I asked, what questions do you have? And somebody asked a question about self-esteem, and I was about to answer the question because they got you programmed over there. And I said, that's not what I talked about. So if you have any questions about what I went over, because I'm talking about believing in yourself, you got on here late, you can go watch the replay. And after that, you can put a question in the comment section, or you can message me if you don't want people to see your comment. And I literally left it at that. And part of it was because I looked to see which principle of real leadership was coming up next. And it was set and maintain high standards. And I said, I got to maintain high standards everywhere. I don't give a fuck what platform it is. I'm me. I'm a thermostat, not a thermometer. And I found myself acquiescing and saying, well, over here, that ain't what we doing. My daughter got ADHD and ADD, and she will tell you, I don't give a fuck about neither one of the mental illnesses. I rewire your brain. I told you what you need to do. I don't care about that. I really don't. She can't be like, because I got ADHD. What's the system? What's the standard? We're not doing that. We're not victimized. You don't get to be no damn victim for this. It's a bunch you inherited from your daddy and my sister. So what? Get this shit done. So I'm not doing that. I'm setting and maintaining higher standards because I know the brain is plastic. And what neuroplasticity says, you can wire new neural pathways to get this shit done. So this whole notion, I'm over here, I'm going to let them off because it's Instagram and they got to learn that. No, the standard is up here. And I literally checked myself. I was in the kitchen. I said, Harvard ain't lower than the standards. You ain't walking in the doggone Rolls Royce dealer and they're like, we going to get you in the vehicle no matter what your credit score is. No, that's not happening. MIT and the rest of them, they're not. This is the standard. You got doggone 2% entrance rate, 8% interest rate of entrance into the school system, to those private Ivy Leagues and all of that. And I'm over here down here saying, oh, it's okay. I'm gonna lower my teaching ability and all of that. No, I'm not. And Kevin and I have had this conversation. It's not price related. It's neuropability related, because you need to have your neural pathways up here to do any of this work. So that's where the standard is at. Are you going to participate in neurogenesis? And if you're not, I will talk to myself. That will be in my Instagram feed. It will be in TikTok highlights, and that will be the end of it. But I'm not coming back down. And so I had to believe in myself enough to say, fuck what y'all told me to do, because that shit didn't work. That works if you're looking for a dopamine boost. But I'm not your pusher, man. I'm not about to be giving you no manufactured dopamine. You're going to have to do the work and create your own natural dopamine, but it's not coming from me. So I set that standard. And then additionally, I took screenshots of myself doing videos with me with my brain t-shirt on, and I made that the desktop for my phone. Because I've always had a self-made graphography, and this is the first time I ever had selfies of myself on my phone screen. But I'm believing in this 110 toes down is neuropability, point blank period, because it's that whole, well, you gotta, and then you gotta, and then when I was at Frito-Lay, well, some employees and that, no, fuck that. I'm 130,000% in charge of all of this, and it's up here. And if you can't make it up here, then you don't belong over here. If you don't want to create neural pathways and neurogenesis and neuropability, and you don't want to use the 74 principles of real leadership, this is not the space for you. And I don't care if I'm over here by myself. If I done told my own child, you stop being personally accountable, you can kick rocks, why does anybody else get a pass? That makes absolutely no sense. You don't want to be the best. You don't want to be badass. You don't want to be a bad mofo. You don't want to be a genius. Go back to Loserville. Go back to Loserville. I'm not lowering the standard. So I'm happy that I had yesterday off and daylight saving time, because I was so damn sleepy. When I'm sleepy, my filter is gone. Y'all think you think I'm unfiltered now. Let me get sleepy. Filter gone. What comes up, comes out. That's it. It is the tack, it's just, let me get some sleep. Because if you want to answer right now, you have to brace yourself for it. So I'm happy I was sleepy yesterday, because now I'm believing in all of it 100,000%. Ain't no watering it down. This is moonshine. This is blue magic over here, baby. Okay. Lorenzo said, the thing I do to believe in myself was to do my sober living again. I'm going to die trying because I want to be better. It was easy to believe and want remembering how life was before reflecting. Yeah, you gotta stay sober. That's the only way it works. My sister showed me that 13 years in a relapse, and Antonio Fargas told her to take her ass to a meeting, and she didn't because he could see that she was getting ready to go out. Is that one addict to another would be able to tell when that person getting ready to do what they used to do. And he said, you need to get to a meeting. She's like, I ain't been to a meeting in 8 years. And next thing I know, relapsed. That was January, and by March, when I went back over 2013, he could sense that that's what was getting ready to take place. Because if you think you have recovered ED, that's your problem, because it is recovering until you are no longer here. All right. The real leader principle for today is set and maintain high standards. You're going to set a standard for today and start the pathway to maintaining that standard. So whatever that is, you are going to set and maintain that standard. And we already know mine was from yesterday. It's brain. That's what it is. I'm not, well, for this, and that's why I stopped speaking publicly, because people would go, I had keynotes, and we like this keynote, but what we really need, we like your energy, but can you kind of put this in it? Because we really want our sales directors to blah, 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 blah. And I did that for a minute, and I said, fuck that, I'm not doing that. If you don't want this speech, you want somebody else. I'm not customizing this to try to say the shit y'all can't say to y'all doggone directors and managers and branch managers and all that stuff. No, I'm not doing that. So my standard has already been set, and it is, I'm up here. I'm not coming back down here for nobody at all. You're going to get on the ladder and take an escalator, take the stairs, do whatever you got to do, but you're going to create neurogenesis and neural pathways. I'm not coming back down for nobody. Because the Army, too, when people fell out of runs, we would turn around, pick them up, and put them in front of the runs, and now they're the ones setting the pace. And so that's in my brain as well. And that damn Chris Henry effect with that doggone 70% is there too. Because unaccountable people really got a way of you watering it down so it'll lift them up, but it's decreasing your property value. You're not bringing my property value down. That's not what's happening at all. So today's principle is set and maintain high standards. Final question for today is, what did you learn? Remember ... and then what your answer is. And I learned the definition of maintain this morning. Preserve from failure or decline. Learn DAP and BHAG. And most of these things that you hear me saying just came from having conversations with Nola, other people, mostly Nola, myself, and then just observing people. So Nola will tell you that I don't watch television or television shows. I assess them because I'm going back and forth. I'm like, should I just stop watching things on the screen? She's saying no. DAP is a dumbass plan. It's a dumbass plan instead of a strategy. So it's something that's never going to work. It's saying, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. If you ain't got no strategy to it, you actually not going to use it. I'm going to leave. When? I'm leaving. I'm going to quit my job. And do what? When? How? What's the plan after that? So it's more of a statement that sounds like it's going to be something. My mother said, go to college. Anybody with a degree know that that's not how you get a degree. So many steps. Go to college. I got in, and she said, finish in 4 years. Those were her directives. I know it takes 4 years to get a degree. You better be done in 4 years. And she left me at Michigan State. That was her directive. Yep. And that was it. So it's a dumbass plan. It's not going to work. We're experiencing that in America right now. Yeah. As I've mentioned, play the movie out. Play the movie. And globally, I would say. Nobody's really winning right now. And Kevin, it seems like did I have more training in my corporate job? Because you stayed in your corporate job longer than me. Because I feel like at that time we should have been in corporate America around about the same time. Was Frito-Lay just overtraining us? Remember to maintain high standards and to continue to grow and grow by challenging yourself. Very good. Yes. When this can happen at any age. Because the brain likes neurogenesis. It likes having new neural path. And that natural dopamine, is better. It definitely is better. It's kind of quiet. It's kind of peaceful. It's like you go to an oxygen bar. You just like, you can breathe clear. It's just like, wow, this is awesome. The reward feels better when it's natural instead of manufactured, because you actually did something to get the dopamine release. It's very passive. Manufactured dopamine is very passive. Mm-hmm. 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 All right. Lorenzo said, I learned that maintaining is more than keeping things as they are, but rather protecting and preserving them, the thing from failure. Yes, that is. Or decline. It's such a great definition. It really is. It just puts it in perspective. Yes, you did. I was working for money, not caring about how they operate until year 13 of my... Ooh. Okay. Got it. Because, and the reason why I asked that question, Kevin, too, is because Nola has told me, well, nobody paying attention to all of that at Frito. She said, them people at Frito-Lay right now don't know that. And they stayed. They were, they were not paying attention to that. Like I mentioned, when I first started my onboarding, they gave us a big, giant 3-inch binder full of everything, full of all of your 14 weeks of what you were going to be doing. And, yeah. Okay, cool. And then Nola's learning, and then we can bust a move and get on out of here. We have another 7th Avenue today. Y'all should look those up if you have time, because people like them. They're ordering them a lot here recently. Supposed to not need a new couch and just need new covers. I think they said they last 10 years. Something like that. We got to get to the store to see it. Oh, and Kevin, just the second question. What made you switch in year 13 to caring? Baby, baby, baby. Personal accountability reminds me of an analogy I grabbed from a poem. You said yours already? I don't see it, Nola. I just got ... and then Lorenzo's. If you type it again, because I don't have it. I scrolled back up and I don't see it. Can you say it to me? You mean, can you send it to me? Lorenzo, are you saying, can you message me to send it to me? What's it gonna be tonight? Okay, go ahead. And if you have to go, I understand. On my mind that I didn't need their money anymore. Oh, okay. Got it. You had a paradigm shift. The is the clue. You said the is the clue, Nola? The unaccountable. The meaning of the river flowing is not that all things are changing so that we cannot encounter them twice, but that some things stay the same only by changing. Scroll up. Okay. I did scroll up. To be personally accountable, you must constantly be growing and striving. Yes, I would agree with that. Okay. All right. Yeah, Nola, I scrolled up. It's okay. You can tell me on our drive to the appointment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today for yourself, because you are okay. All right. I don't know that I can take a screenshot. It's not, what I'm saying is it's not showing up for me. No, it may be on y'all screen, but it's not on my screen. I have scrolled multiple times and it's not there. Yeah, so I have scrolled up twice and I got all the way to you talking about me driving, you're driving with unsolicited, and it's not there. It's okay. You can just tell it to me. I know where you live. Okay. Thank you so much for taking your time today to understand more about neuropability so that you can use it. You can use it to create a life that you want to wake up to every single day, and you can have an impact on those around you. This is frustrating. I literally have the shortest sentence of everyone, and mine's the one that doesn't show. It's not frustrating. It literally happens to everybody. Kevin had to ask us one day. It just happens. You too, Regina. Have a great day. That you're using Neuropability and that you're doing what you need to do in order to become your best. I will be back tomorrow, God willing, higher power in the universe. Same time, same place, different t-shirt. You all go off and have a wonderful rest of your day. And remember to set and maintain a high standard. Take care. Bye-bye. And my nose is just itching.